Nosferatu is the new Robert Eggers movie. It dropped Christmas of 2024. This was really just an impressive movie. Even from a marketing standpoint, Focus Features did a great job. Succumb to the Darkness. Most movies that come out around December are huge movies. There's movies like Mufasa and Sonic 3. I would prefer seeing Nosferatu over both of those. Honestly, Sonic 3 was pretty good. You can check out my review for that. But you know what's interesting is Nosferatu, I saw this movie in IMAX, and it was only playing at 10:50 p.m. And Mufasa was taking up all the daytime showings. You know, it's funny. The 10:50 showing I saw Nosferatu in was not that crowded. There were not a lot of people. Yet, the Mufasa screening I also saw in IMAX was also pretty empty. And it made me think, wow, if Disney, didn't hijack all of the theaters Christmas week, Nosferatu could make a steady more amount of money. It already made $100 million, I think on a $40 million budget, which is really impressive. I mean, for Nosferatu to be making $100 million is impressive, but it's really, a highly anticipated movie. I've remembered this movie was announced years ago on Robert Eggers' Letterboxd. He announced a bunch of films, including The Northman, and including this movie. And I think this was back in 2019, whenever The Lighthouse was out, or a little before. It said upcoming Nosferatu, The Northman. So you knew that this guy planned to make these movies, and he ended up making them. He stuck to his word. He made these movies, and they ended up coming out. It's honestly very impressive that, this all kind of came to fruition. He even had another movie, a medieval epic called The Knight, which he announced, which is still in the works technically, but he's going to do it. Apparently he's going to be making a remake of Labyrinth, the David Bowie, Jennifer Connelly movie, his first studio movie, very exciting. But I'm so happy Nosferatu is finally out. It's 2 hours, 12 minutes. It's the third remake after the original from the 20s, the Werner Herzog one, and he brings his own signature style to it. I want to talk about this movie because I did see it in IMAX, and it was absolutely incredible in that format. This is not a traditional IMAX movies. IMAX films seem like they are always reserved for the big blockbusters, the big, huge movie with huge scope and action, epic type of story. Nosferatu in IMAX, though, is incredible for several reasons. It's a very intimate movie. So when you're watching it on a big screen, it feels like it's a point of view, like you're kind of walking with the characters. Robert Eggers said something similar about The Lighthouse, which I actually heard got an IMAX re-release in November, and he said that watching that movie in IMAX when they're arriving on the island, it's like you're arriving with them. There's a lot of shots in Nosferatu that, when you're looking at the back of a character, or characters walking into, the castle. It's Nicholas Hoult walking into Orlok's castle. Or it's a shot of Nosferatu, looming. It looks so good in IMAX because it feels like you're, in that point of view. You're watching all this. And it's almost like, a theatrical experience. Not a theatrical experience, but it's like a theme park ride. And I know people don't like that. Martin Scorsese always says Marvel movies are theme park rides. I mean it in the best way possible. When I say watching Nosferatu in IMAX simulates this experience of entering, Orlok's castle. You feel like you're walking into this creepy Transylvanian village. You feel like you're on a boat going down this river in Germany. It's such a great movie to experience in IMAX, and I just want to say that. The beginning of this movie is absolutely fantastic. In fact, the first 45 minutes, and as are the first 45 minutes of any Dracula or Nosferatu story, it's going to be great. The whole arrival to Orlok's castle, everything in the castle is absolutely fantastic. I really loved all of that stuff. All the actors are amazing. The way you can see in the night is amazing too. A lot of people are talking about Jaron Blaschke's cinematography because he makes, the lighting so crisp and detailed, yet it's all at night, or a lot of it's at night. So it's like you can see in the dark. It's really just beautiful. There are so many shots in there that I'm not how did they do that? Because you can understand from a technical perspective, or the fact that they shot this at a studio, I think they shot this in Europe, that they had a lot of technical elements at play, but the carriage arriving at night and the snow falling and the silhouettes, everything just looks so good. And especially that scene where Nicholas Holt's Thomas Hutter is walking in the road and he sees the carriage and it opens for him. It's so beautiful and dreamy, and the filmmakers know what they're doing. The first 45 minutes to an hour of this movie are absolutely incredible. and so good at building dread. And again, seeing it in IMAX with the sound is just incredible, but it's so dread-inducing and creepy, and it just like works 100%. The issues I had with this movie largely stem from the second act, which, and by the way, prefacing this, Robert Eggers announced there is a 3-hour cut of this movie. And it's pretty clear to me that once you get to the second act, everything from Orlok traveling from Transylvania to Germany, it honestly feels a bit rushed from that point on, because you're kind of like with him, but then it's cutting between Lily Rose Depp's character and Aaron Taylor Johnson's character and Emma Corrin's character and Bill Skarsgård. And I just think the second act is very rushed compared to the first. And it's not as scary, too. There's also these other elements being introduced, aside from a vampire, which could be scary. It's the plague. And this plague is not as scary as it could be. I just think that overall, the second act just feels very rushed. There's even a moment where they're on this boat, which, by the way, is a really great and creepy sequence, just in any, form of Dracula, in any literature or movie. Orlok, and they made a whole movie about it last year, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, but Orlok coming to Germany is such a great and creepy moment. You don't even see that. You don't even see him getting on the boat. Again, I'm not really asking for, specifics. I don't exactly need to see who put Orlok on the boat, but it does ask so many questions. I'm like, how did he get there? How did Nicholas Hoult get back? And then just the way it's edited and cut at that point feels a little rushed. There's even a moment where you see that all the guys are on the boat and they're saying there's a plague. And then the next scene is just the first line of dialogue is some sailor like, I will kill this demon. And you kind of know from that moment that like it was edited or just like cut up a bit. And it's just so clear to me that, I bet a 3-hour cut would flow seamlessly. Maybe Focus Features didn't want a movie that was like 3 hours long, but it just is very clear that the second half of this could be so much more. There's even a part where he's talking to Lily Rose Depp and he's talking about like, I'm going to come back in 3 nights. And it just feels so not like there's any stakes in that. Like it could be way more creepy. Overall, it's a really well done movie. The performances are amazing. I love the casting. I love how they got huge names. Aaron Taylor Johnson was great. Nicholas Hoult was great. Lily Rose Depp also was really good. It interested me why she was cast because all these performers are British. You have Willem Dafoe, who's American, but he's this legend storied performer who really like makes the movie being this kind of eccentric professor. It even fits that he's American and the rest are British because he's supposed to be this crazy professor from, they don't really, they might explain it, but just the way everyone plays off each other is great. And Lily Rose Depp gives a very great, very physical performance that honestly you can tell in the scenes where they're all working together. It requires a lot of synchronization for all these actors to be on. And I thought it was really great. But again, I just think the story, especially as we get to its second act, is rushed. And the Lily Rose Depp part is also really cool. I like how he has his own spin on it where, Ellen Hutter, played by Lily Rose Depp, is very much the protagonist. In a way, I think Nicholas Hoult is also kind of a protagonist, but she is the driving force in the movie. Her character links with Nosferatu or Count Orlok in a way that kind of makes the movie flow right from its opening scene to its final shot. And I really loved all the ideas at play. Overall, I really liked the movie. I just wish the second half was as scary. There have been other Dracula movies that have had better endings where it ends and you're like, oh shit, that is a race, to usually they're racing till it's sunlight and there's not a battle, but this trying to kill Dracula. The way they do it here though is just, I like the end for, a spoiler alert here, even though it's like the end of the review, how Ellen Hutter ends up like sacrificing herself to kill Nosferatu, but just the build up to it could be a little scarier. I just think the second act is a bit rushed. Let me know what you guys think. It is a great Christmas movie though. Has a bit of Christmas elements in there, even though it's not fully a Christmas movie. Let me know what you guys think though. Thanks so much for watching.